Good evening, everyone. It is 6:00 p.m. on Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting of the Peoria City Council. I'd also like to welcome everyone in our historic City Council chambers, as well as our audience watching on cable channel 22 and on the City of Peoria YouTube channel. Madam Clerk, the council mics are open. Please call the roll.
Mayor Ali,
Present.
Councilmember Allen,
Present.
Councilmember Carmona, Councilmember Sear,
Here.
Councilmember Gordon Young,
Present.
Councilmember Jackson,
Here.
Councilmember Kelly,
Here.
Councilmember Euler,
Here.
Councilmember Riggenbach,
Here.
Councilmember Velpula, and Councilmember Vespa.
Here.
You have a quorum present, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Everyone, please join me and stand for a moment of silent prayer or silent reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk?
We are at the approval of the minutes.
Okay. I'm just going to back up just a moment. Normally, we do proclamations first, but we don't have any proclamations tonight. But we do have an acknowledgement that I would like to share with you. I received a letter from Nicole Stewart. She's the president of the Central Illinois Municipal Clerks Organization, CIMCO. And she made me aware that our own Deputy Clerk Courtney Cole has been selected as the recipient of the 2024-2025 Presidential Award from this organization. And before we applaud her, I'd like to read what that means. The Central Illinois Municipal Clerks Organization, CIMCO, Presidential Award. This award is given annually to one member whose service, initiative, and commitment go above and beyond supporting CIMCO's mission to promote efficient clerk operations, foster collaboration, educate the public, and encourage professional growth. CIMCO, am I saying that right,
Yes.
Madam
Yes, you
Clerk? Okay. CIMCO President Nicole Stewart selected Courtney for her outstanding contributions this year. As Vice President, Courtney managed online registration for the Back to the Basics seminar, a two-day training event for municipal clerks to refresh skills, learn best practices, and network with peers, coordinate speakers, and ensure smooth operations. President Stewart highlighted Courtney's initiative, creativity, and reliability, noting her active involvement, thoughtful questions, fresh ideas, and willingness to assist wherever needed. Her dedication and attention to detail have made a significant impact on CIMCO, its members, and clerks throughout the state of Illinois. And I can easily say that you're making a tremendous impact on our city government as well, and we're blessed to have you here. We're very proud of all of our clerks. Madam Clerk, they're highly credentialed and highly skilled and talented, and we just say congratulations to you, Clerk Cole, on this great honor and service. You're welcome. There was a press release that was sent out, and it included her picture, and it included the information on the award. So we hope, JJ, that gets published in your newspaper. No pressure. Okay, Madam Clerk, back to the minutes.
Sure, at the approval of the minutes.
Councilman Riggenbach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve the minutes of the joint city council and town board meeting held October 28th, 2025 as printed.
Seconded by Councilwoman Jackson. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We have one town item. 25-318 is a request from the town officials to approve the October 2025 actual expenditures and to approve the November 2025 anticipated expenditures for the town of the city of Peoria.
Trustee Gordon Young.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve Town Item 25-318.
Is there a second? Seconded by Trustee Allen. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We have two public hearings. The first one, 25-319, is a public hearing regarding the proposed Adams Liberty Tax Increment Financing District, and we need a motion to open the hearing, please.
Okay. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing? Moved by Councilman Carmona, seconded by Councilwoman Gordon Young. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. We don't have our city manager here, but we do have our assistant city manager, Madam Manager Kimberly Richardson. Is there any comment, Madam Manager?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Yes, good evening to everyone. So I'm very happy to bring to the council our public hearing related to the Adams Liberty Tax Increment Financing District. This is consisting of one square block, boundary by Liberty to the east, Jefferson Street to the north, Harrison Street to the west, and Adams Street to the south. And this is also the block where we are working on the redevelopment of as we call the PNC Bank and Creve Coeur building and adjoining parking deck. This plan is going to represent a part of our strategic goal of revitalizing our downtown and incorporating mixed residential and commercial use in our buildings. So today I have a quick overview of just what we've done so far to get us here today. And I just want to acknowledge that we also have Herb Klein here from Klein & Klein to answer any legal questions as it relates to the TIF and how we put the TIF together. On October 15th, we had a joint review board meeting with members of the taxing bodies that will be impacted by that meeting. This joint committee met and moved forward this project. Today we have our public hearing, and then it will, once the public hearing has convened on January 13th, we'll be able to come back to council with a final ordinance to establish the TIF district. So if there's any further questions, I'm here to answer them. And again, we have Herb Klein here to answer any questions as it relates to the plan itself.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the public hearing regarding the proposed Adams Liberty TIF, Tax Increment Financing District? Again, is there anyone here that would like to speak to the public hearing regarding the proposed Adams Liberty Tax Increment Financing District? And finally, is there anyone here that would like to speak to the public hearing regarding the proposed Adams Liberty TIF District? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Councilmember Kelly, seconded by Councilmember Euler. Any questions, comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
The second public hearing, 25-320, is a public hearing regarding the proposed Northwoods Mall Tax Increment Financing District.
Madam Manager? Oh, can I get a motion to open that public hearing? Moved by Councilmember Allen, seconded by Councilmember Gordon Young. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The Northwoods Mall tax increment area that we are looking to move forward is really a plan to address what we're seeing not just locally but nationally when it comes to the older infrastructure of our malls infrastructure and commercial and light use. In that area, we have 13 vacant parcels that have been vacant for quite some time and have not seen redevelopment really happening over the course of the last several years. And so understanding that this area continues to see a high rate of vacancy and infrastructure deterioration, we wanted to provide some abilities for the city to be able to support some type of financial incentive to get development to continue to happen in that area. With that being said, we did have, again, another joint review board committee committee meeting that occurred in October. We have our public hearing today, and then again in January of 2025, we'll be coming forth to present the ordinances to approve the plan and the increment. So with that being said, if there's any further question, I'll be willing to answer at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone present that would like to speak to the public hearing regarding the proposed Northwoods Mall Tax Increment Financing District? Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the public hearing regarding the proposed Northwoods Mall TIF District? And finally, is there anyone here who would like to speak to the public hearing regarding the proposed Northwoods Mall TIF District? Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Councilman Carmona, seconded by Councilman Allen. Any comments or questions? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are on to the consent agenda. 25-321 is a communication with a request from the CDBG Public Services Commission to approve the 2025 Community Development Block Grant Public Service Funding recommendations in the amount of $270,000. 25-322 is a communication with a request to approve the funding recommendations from the Home for All Continuum of Care for the 2026-2027 Emergency Solutions Grant in the amount of $156,382 in 2026. 25-323 is a communication with a request to approve a change order to the professional services agreement with Patrick Engineering for Corridor Identification and Development Step 1 in the amount of $50,000. 25-324 is a communication with a request to approve an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Peoria and Greater Peoria Sanitary District to line selected city sewer segments in the low bid amount of $94,800 with an additional authorization of $9,480 for contingencies for a total project amount of $104,280. 25-325 is a communication with request to approve a state motor fuel tax resolution for the Pioneer Parkway multi-use path from Allen Road to Knoxville Avenue in the amount of $190,000. 25-326 is a communication with request to approve a resolution for signatory authority with the Illinois Department of Transportation for authorizing the city manager to sign federal funding forms and electronic signature forms on behalf of the city. 25-327 is a communication with request to concur with a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission and staff to adopt an ordinance approving a special use in a Class WH warehouse form district to paint murals on a structure within a historic district for the properties located at 825 Southwest Adams Street. 25-328 is an appointment by Mayor Ali to the Housing Commission with a request to concur of Marwin Spiller. 25-329 is an appointment by Mayor Ali to the Transportation Commission with a request to concur of Nathan Johnson. 25-330 is a communication with a request to approve the site application for the expansion of an existing Class B1 restaurant 25% food liquor license with a subclass 1, 4 a.m. closing hours with on-site consumption and the retail sale of alcohol for J&J Pizza Plus, Inc., doing business as Hoops Pub and Pizza at 516 Main Street, with a recommendation from the Liquor Commission to approve. 25-331 is a communication with a request to approve the site application for a Class B1 Restaurant 25% Food Liquor License with a Subclass 1 4 a.m. closing hours with on-site consumption and the retail sale of alcohol for 500 through 516 Main Street, LLC, doing business as TBD at 512 Main Street, contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of occupancy with recommendation from the Liquor Commission to approve. 25-332 is a communication with request to approve the site application for a Class D hotel liquor license with the retail sale of alcohol for on-site consumption for Peoria Hotel Owner, LLC, doing business as Staybridge Suites at 300 West Romeo B. Garrett Avenue, with a recommendation from the Liquor Commission to approve. And 25-333 is a communication with request to approve the site application for a Class B1 Restaurant 25% Food Liquor License with a Subclass 1 4 a.m. closing hours with on-site consumption and the retail sale of alcohol for 500 through 516 Main Street, LLC, doing business as TBD at 500 Main Street, contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of occupancy with a recommendation from the Liquor Commission to approve. And that concludes our consent agenda.
Are there any items, thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any items to remove from consent? Councilmember Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 25-331 and 25-333, please.
31 and 33. 331, 333, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other items? Councilmember Seer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve the balance of the consent agenda.
Seconded by Councilmember Gordon Young. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
25-331 is a communication from the City Manager and Corporation Council with a request to approve the site application for a Class B1 Restaurant 25% Food Liquor License with a Subclass 1 4 a.m. closing hours with on-site consumption and the retail sale of alcohol for 500 through 516 Main Street, LLC, doing business as TBD at 512 Main Street, contingent upon the issuance of a certificate of occupancy with recommendation from the Liquor Commission to approve.
Councilmember Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just for information's sake, TBD does not refer to a situation where the name is to be determined, right? It is the name of the facility. Is that?
That's my understanding. Council Hayes?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
The developer and the owner are here. We're fortunate. Mr. Ritterbusch has decided that one of his retirement passions is going to be redeveloping the 500 block of Main. And this is the first time council's seen action in this arena, but we'll see an awful lot of activity there adjacent to the Madison, where he's undertaking a project that will expand the present hoops, which is a matter that was already approved on the consent agenda, and then develop the next 2 units so that that entire block are going to be entertainment and restaurant type facilities. And so in our hospitality district, we're seeing an expansion of hospitality in property that's been idle all too long, and we're very grateful for those efforts. The TBD indicates that we're still working on our redevelopment agreement with them, they're still working on some of their concepts, and TBD really does mean to be determined. They're going to market a name, but they haven't come up with it yet. So both of these items that you've identified with that moniker on them is simply because they were not yet prepared to make a final determination of how they're going to market those amenities. But we're very excited as staff to be providing a local investor coming forward and taking on the task of revitalizing that entire block. And so we're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Prior to licensing, we will have that name, correct?
It's my understanding that they're close to coming up with the name and that they would draw that. And one of the things that came up, just for the council to understand, is those places are not ready to open. They won't be ready to open till this summer. We may need an extension. You know that you have to open a newly authorized site within 6 months or
Okay.
seek an extension. And they've already indicated that they may need that, but they're targeting somewhere around July, as I understand it. But as we all know, taking on our older historic buildings often presents some unforeseen challenges. And so they're going to do what they can to open that this summer. But TBD literally means they haven't come up with their final determination on the name yet. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Councilman Kelly, and I think we're all happy to see this development take place. And, but isn't there a requirement to have that name finalized before we actually issue a license?
Yeah, they'll have to have that for the license, absolutely.
Okay.
You're correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I wasn't clear in my response.
Okay, no problem.
And
Councilman
Mayor,
Kelly?
if I could have, and I apologize for interrupting, but I want to mention something else that we approved in the consent agenda. So present here is Diane Sisman, the general manager, and Joe Motomedi, who's the project manager. Staybridge has undergone a tremendous amount of rehabilitation. It's all new furnishings. You've seen the activity over there. You've seen the construction activity. It's been ongoing for a while. This license will allow them to provide some amenity for their guests. They're going to be providing that as a incentive for their hotel guests. But they're going to reopen in February, and they got approved on the consent agenda, and they're probably going to get up and walk out. But I just wanted to thank them and their organization for their investment in our downtown area.
Sure,
Thank you, Your Honor.
absolutely. Councilman Kelly, does that satisfy your question?
Yes, it does. And it's a small point, but maybe in the future, if we have a similar situation, we could put TBD in parentheses. That way it would be clear that it's to be determined rather than that's the name. But I am personally, since I have the mic, I'm personally thrilled with the revitalization efforts that are going on there. This is to me, a wonderful site, but it's been neglected for quite a long time. And I'm thrilled that we have some folks, local folks, who wish to redevelop it. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Sure, would you like to make the motion?
That's a very good idea, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
I move to approve item 25-331.
Okay. Seconded by Councilman Euler. Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilman Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move to approve item 25-333.
Oh, okay. All right. Is there a second, Councilman Euler? Any questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
We are at regular business. 25-334 is a communication from the City Manager and Director of Community Development with a request to concur with a recommendation from staff to adopt an ordinance approving a special use in a Class CN Neighborhood Commercial District to establish a halfway house for the property located at 1924 Southwest Adams Street. And on your desk, there is a handout with an updated council communication and ordinance.
Madam Manager?
And our Assistant Community Development Director to present this item today. Leanne,
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
Ms. Mayor. Thank you,
Director
Madam
Alice.
Mayor, Council. So this is a request for a special use to establish a halfway house at 1924 Southwest Adams. This property has an existing 2.5-story building that was built sometime long ago in the past. It's been vacant for a number of years. At one point in time, it was used as a homeless shelter for, or a home for the homeless and mentally ill. The present proposal is for a halfway house for about 10 to 12 parolees from the Illinois Department of Corrections that will reside there through a 16-week program. The staff, there'll be 3 staff that will be present during normal business hours, and then security will be present 24 hours, 7 days a week. The program was really intended, as the Planning and Zoning Commission heard through their public hearing, to help parolees rebuild their lives, get back on their feet with housing and support. Can I answer any questions?
I have some questions. I think I see some more questions on the, around the horseshoe as well. But I toured that building with Director Doolin and some of his team members and inspectors and so forth. And we were actually looking for potential locations to support unhoused populations at the time. And this was just a few months ago. What type of investment is being put into that facility to bring it up to par? Because it wasn't quite livable at the
Right.
time. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, the review through our building inspections and our development review board does require that property will have to be thoroughly inspected and meet our life safety regulations. So there probably will be, as you mentioned, some improvements needed to make sure that it's a safe building to house persons there.
So they haven't really communicated the level of upgrade that's going to take place?
They haven't gone into great detail, other than they're well informed that will be a requirement if this is approved and ultimately through a building review inspection to meet all the regulations.
Okay.
But
And
they
they are
haven't
leasing it, right, from the owners?
I believe they may have an option to purchase.
Okay. Okay. Councilmember Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to ask whoever should be asked what the changes are on the yellow sheets versus
Yes.
what
I
we
apologize.
received.
And I apologize for not mentioning that. So the yellow paper is because of the timing of our Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, which was held yesterday. So we didn't have that information in your original packet. The public hearing was held. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve with the conditions as presented from staff. So that is the update, and I apologize for not making that clear to you.
Thank you. And just another point, I believe that property was, at least in one of its incarnations, the I-2 Hall in Peoria, before they built out on Farmington Road. But I'm very happy to hear that's a wonderful structure. It's a beautiful structure. And I'm glad to know that it's being revitalized and put to good use. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilmember Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. would like to know, Ms. Allison is a representative from the group here. Got an opportunity to speak briefly with one of them last week, and I spoke to Mr. Carl Calloway, who is affiliated with the program, and they have been collaborating with them already. I was told somebody would be here tonight. Is anybody represented? Would you mind just coming up and just giving the council a little bit of an overview about the organization, what you've been doing, and what your plans are?
Okay, I wasn't prepared to come. I was just coming here to listen to the meeting
This
and see
is
what's
Mr.
going
James
on.
McCoy.
James McCoy, Peoria, Illinois. You need address and
No, just tell us your position or affiliation.
I'm a therapist with Grow. And one of the things that they talked about with the facility, because a lot of people just keep mentioning the halfway house. But the main thing that really needs to be mentioned is it's mental health therapy.
Right.
And that's the main piece. But the people that are going to come in are transitioning. And as we know, one of the biggest problems that we have in the city is we don't have enough mental health providers. And I was happy when I retired from the city and I actually started participating with Grow. They're actually not asking for any funding, but yet bringing these services to our citizens here in town. So when I started working with them and seeing their different visions, we actually service over 100 kids in the schools right now, and this is something they're looking to do on their reentry part. I don't have a lot of details because right now our main focus is the kids we work with in school, but I know that they have a functioning house like that in Chicago, and they're looking to duplicate that type of service here, and they want to really tap into reentry, and our CEO, his big thing is mental health therapy because he worked for the social services before he started the business. I'm sure she already gave you Grow, his God restoring order, and that's his whole purpose. But the big thing that I think really attracted me was I know financial resources are problems why a lot of things don't take place. And when they said they're willing to use their money, bring it here, and provide services for people in our community, that's what attracted me to Grow.
And I apologize. I thought someone else was going to be here who I spoke to, over the weekend and was given an update. And so I did mean to put you on the spot, but just for the council who was not familiar with the organization and the good work they do, and I just kind of wanted to give them an overview. And from what I've had a chance to ascertain is that it's just temporary. These individuals will be transitioning into work and things of that nature with the goal of becoming viable, productive citizens wherever they decide to permanently relocate. So based on the information I was given, I felt like, Mayor, this would be a great opportunity for individuals to get an opportunity to get back, get acclimated, and reintegrated into the community as well as into the workforce, given the supportive and the wraparound services that Grow provides. Based on that, Madam Mayor, I plan to support this program. I think it's a wonderful program, and I support everything that I've heard about Grow thus far.
You want to make a motion?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you very much for your opportunity to give us a summary. Madam Mayor, I would like to go ahead and approve item number 25-334 for approval.
Seconded by Councilmember Riggenbach. And continued discussion. Thank you, Councilwoman Jackson. Councilmember Euler?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Can we get an explanation for where the residents of this facility are going to be coming from specifically?
What was shared at the public hearing yesterday is that they're from the Illinois Department of Corrections.
So they are not necessarily folks that came from the city of Peoria originally?
Not necessarily.
So the proposal would be that we're bringing more folks to the city of Peoria that need more social service dollars.
Is it possible that they tried to move the residents from Illinois Department of Corrections closer to their home where their families are? I guess I have that question as well.
I am not familiar. I don't know.
And I guess I'm really not asking you. Director Allison, but does anyone else, Mr. McCoy, anyone with GROW, know the answer to that question?
Yes, we will be basically working with guys that's from Peoria. We'll
Can
be-
you tell us your name, please?
My name is Darrell Pierce. I'm the supervisor of GROW Mental Health. So we'll be basically working with people around in these, in the central Illinois. We won't be bringing people from Chicago because normally that's not how I go when people come home. And it's all out. We also have worked with the ATC, so it's guys that be coming from there, get jobs here. And when they get ready to get parole out, they got to go all the way back home. They could be a nice transitional to if they can get somewhere here and they can stay independent and have a job when they get out and have somewhere to go instead of paroling all the way back to the city when they have jobs and have a new start.
Councilman Euler, I know Carl Holloway just walked in the door, so.
Yeah, I don't feel
Mr.
like I
Holl-
fully got an answer to my question. I don't know if Mr. Holloway can answer that, but
Mr. Holloway, can you
my-
ask the
yeah, sure.
question again once he gets up there?
my question is, where are the folks that would be moving to this facility coming from? What is their originating location before they went into the Illinois Department of Corrections?
Before they went in. So, excuse me. Good evening. My name is Carl Holloway. Thank you for this opportunity. So where were they coming from before they went into the incarceration is your question?
Correct.
I'm going to say that these are from Peoria. These individuals are from Peoria, and they're going to be living in Peoria when they complete their workforce development, which is in the halfway house.
So before they went to the Department of Corrections, every one of these individuals was a resident of the city of Peoria.
From my understanding, when they leave incarceration, prior to their going to incarceration, these individuals coming to this specific halfway house are going to be individuals from Peoria, relocating to Peoria or coming from Peoria to move
And
here.
there's some specific guidelines that outline that somewhere that we have definitive proof that that's the case.
At this particular moment, at this particular time, no, but we can get that information for you.
So I could support a deferral on this until we have information like that, but I absolutely cannot support an approval without information like that. And you know, just to be transparent, I have extreme amount of concern with this going in the area of town that it's going because we have an oversaturation already of folks that are on public service dollars and needing extra social service agency assistance that is completely consuming our downtown, and we are fighting this issue on a daily basis, that it's all clustered in the downtown warehouse district area. I applaud the effort that's being made, and I think that, you know, the program is a very good thing. I personally have done things like this, so I believe in it on a personal level, but to continue to put all of the needed social service agency programs in downtown does not work for me, so I will not be supporting approval. Thank you.
That's not downtown, though.
I see the warehouse district as downtown. I know where the building is. It's the edge of the warehouse district.
This is over by UFS.
Correct.
Okay, you're considered
Yes,
that
the edge
downtown.
of the warehouse
Okay.
district, yes.
Okay.
Could I also say something, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
These are not just individuals that are going to be living off the fat of the land. These are going to be individuals that will be going through a workforce development program, okay, dealing with getting their soft skills together, getting prepared to be in the workforce environment. So they're not just going to be eating off the fat of the land. The whole purpose of this halfway house is to help individuals get on their feet so they won't be public service individuals, public service aid individuals, okay? So that's the whole idea of this whole thing, and to decrease the violence specifically in this area, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Holloway.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Gordon Young.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to add some additional context because I actually work in this field. and see the importance and the necessity of this opportunity. That's exactly what it is. Inside of the Peoria County Jail, we begin that process when they're arrested. We're working on rehabilitation. We're working on getting their GED, providing mental health services, getting them on psychotropic medication so that they can begin that process of change. And then once they go into the Department of Corrections, they have opportunities to continue that growth or that work on change. The reason why this is important is when we're talking about reducing the recidivism rate, programming is important, and also having a peer group, a village around you. My own research has proven that individuals who are released from prison are more successful when they have programming to return to, when they have stable housing, when they don't have to go to someone's house that doesn't want them there, when they are seeking gainful employment. One of the requirements from this program is mental health, and also they're looking at the whole person. I'm looking at vocational training. I went to this location a couple times because I'm always checking to see what the environment is like. Are there homes there? Are there children there? What type of population? We're not talking about, I know there's an exclusion of individuals that have been convicted of sex offenses, and that's a big concern for people. But the main thing is understanding that this is the front line of public safety. How do we make change if we're not willing to give people the opportunity for change? I do believe that this is an asset and is something that this community needs, but most importantly, we can't say that we want to reduce violence, we want to improve the quality of life, but we won't give folks a chance. We're talking about 10 to 12 beds for people who otherwise may not have the same chance, may not have the programming. And I talk to people every day. I just talked to someone who's 34 years old, and I diagnosed him with autism. How he went throughout the entire school system, sometimes things get missed, sometimes it turns into antisocial personality disorder, turns into a lot of things. And so when you have people who are willing to step in and provide the support, it's really valuable and it's really rare. Teen Challenge is just down the street, and they've been operating for years and creating these changes. One of our greatest assets in this community who works in reentry graduated from that program 27 years ago. And so again, I think this organization has their finger on the pulse of this community, and in particular this population. One more thing I want to add as it relates to people who are paroling to this community. There are times when there's an individual who may be from another city. They want to change their lives. They don't want to go back into that environment that was detrimental to them. And so there are times when they may relocate to another place. That's not uncommon. What I'm hearing from this organization is they're going inside of the prisons, sometimes on a volunteer basis, and meeting with people, and almost like recruiting individuals who are in programming, who are ready for change. And when they get out, they've already developed that relationship, they've already qualified, and the process continues. So we're starting it in Peoria, and the goal is to end it and to create a new change and a new normal for these individuals. I applaud your efforts, and I certainly support. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Councilmember Regenbach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I certainly love the concept of what this is, and hearing the mental health therapy aspect of it, I think, speaks to something that this council has talked about quite a bit. So it definitely is hitting the nail on the head, if you will. But to be honest, I'd never heard of GROW until I saw this on the council agenda. So you're headquartered in Chicago, is that what I understand?
Yes, sir. The headquarters is in Chicago. They've been around since 2012. They've actually been in Peoria a little bit over a year, and there's a Peoria office here as well. And we have partnerships with the school district, Art Inc. We have partnerships with Elite as well. So we've been doing work with parole here as well, also with probation, that being adult and juvenile, and working with kids starting at age 5 and working with adults up to at least 65.
You're certainly, again, attached with some of the organizations that we all have a lot of respect for. So that speaks highly of your efforts, I think, as well. I was part of that group that toured that building with the mayor back in
Yes.
January.
Yes.
And it is going to take millions of dollars. What's the financial, I mean, I don't expect you, I don't know your role with the organization, but is the parent organization aware of the condition of that building?
I'm not at liberty to answer that question. I'm a therapeutic mentor.
Okay. Because we were looking for opportunities for other organizations to step up in the unsheltered space, and that was one of the buildings that had been recommended to us, and we just walked away shaking our heads with the amount of work it takes. If we were to defer this for 2 weeks, what kind of impact would that have on the future moving forward on this? Would that be something that would be acceptable? Because I think there needs to be a little more assurance from that the organization understands what they're doing, and just to make the council members like myself who weren't familiar with your outreach in Peoria to get acquainted and sit down and have a cup of coffee, if you will.
Absolutely.
Deferral.
Absolutely.
You want to make that motion to defer to the next council meeting?
Yes, I'll move to defer this item until the December 8th meeting.
Seconded by Councilmember Euler. So we have a deferral, a motion to defer, and we have some more commentary. Can I go ahead with the commentary, council? Do we need to vote on the deferral first?
Per the local rule on deferrals, council can direct staff about additional items to develop between now and the next meeting related to, the discussion, but it's supposed to end the debate on the matter. So it's just the deferral and what additional elements beyond the financial reality and investment required and the clientele or origins that Councilman Euler asked. If there's any other questions that need to be developed, that's appropriate. Thank you.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't think you can guarantee that everyone from the organization or everyone who's going to live there is originally from Peoria. I can't see that you can or will guarantee that. But I think intent, if there's an intent that the majority are from the area, I think maybe you can express that.
Sure.
But I don't think we can hold you to everyone, who resides there is originally from Peoria. I just can't see that happening.
Okay. Madam Mayor, can you hold on for a second? Did you want to say something?
I just wanted to tell you that we are, Grow is aware of the situation of the building. I went over there about 1,000 times myself. So we not asking for no money to fund the building.
Okay, we need to vote on the
Okay,
deferral.
thanks.
We have a motion to defer and a second. Please cast your ballots. Motion is approved, and this will be deferred until November the 28th, Tuesday, November the 28th.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
December 9th, Mayor.
I'm sorry.
December 8th?
The December 9th.
What is it?
December 9th is our next city council meeting.
Oh, I thought we were doing it 2 weeks from now. We're doing
That'll
a month?
we moved it because of the holiday.
Okay.
We're in an off week. Because we would have met next week if it wasn't
No
for the
more
holiday.
council meetings this month. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
25-335 is a communication from the City Manager and Director of Community Development with a request to concur with recommendation from staff to adopt an ordinance rezoning property from a Class O1 Arterial Office District to a Class C2 Large-Scale Commercial District and approve a special use in a Class C2 large-scale commercial district for a research, testing, and development laboratory for the property located at 2601 West Richwoods Avenue, Peoria, Illinois.
Madam Manager?
Thank you. Again, we have Leah Allison here to speak on this item. One thing I would like to just say up front, Midwest Bioprocessing Center this project that we have in front of you today is something that I would say is why it's important for us to continue to work with our small businesses. As a startup out of Peoria, I was going to say Peoria Next, there have been looking for a graduation space for the last 3 years. So since I started, they have been looking for a location, and they need a very particular type of space in order to grow their business and grow their organization and their needs. And the fact that they were able to work with us, helping them find a location and stay within Peoria as they expand their business. So I just want to acknowledge that this is very exciting to see that they are able to stay within Peoria as they continue to grow as a company and provide some additional services that we may not see directly, but as for the industry for which they serve do. And so I will hand it back over to Leah Allison to speak to the reason why we're in front of you today. But as for the business, I am just so excited to see that we're able to find a location for them to expand into and stay in Peoria and grow. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything to add, Director Allison?
Madam Manager said it well. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can answer any questions. To explain the yellow paper, and I apologize, it's the same. We had the public hearing for this case yesterday, which wasn't available for your packet as it went out. So the update is the Planning and Zoning Commission's review and vote to approve unanimously for this two-part rezoning and special use.
And this is also District 1.
Yes.
Councilwoman Jackson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had one question. Assistant Manager Richardson talked about expansion, which we are excited about. Does this mean, I see they are listed as having 10 to 12 employees now. Is that on top of what they already had, or are they adding more, or?
That would be their additional, so the 12 will include what they currently have. So that would be the total.
Okay, all right. Well, it sounds like it's a wonderful opportunity to help a small business, especially if it means keeping them here in Peoria and doing the research work that this particular group does. So if there are no questions, Madam Mayor, I would like to make a motion that item 25-335 be approved.
Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Gordon Young. Questions, comments? Councilmember Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Perhaps it was some sort of an error, but I believe when this was read by our clerk, she said that this was to be on Richwoods Boulevard. And the packet and the correction also says Forest Hill. That's what I figured. Is there a confusion here, or just, I don't know what happened here?
Who can provide clarity? Director Allison?
The correct address is the 2601 West Forest Hill, yes. Now I was starting to doubt myself. That is the correct address, which is what?
2601 West
Forest
Hill,
Hill.
not Richwoods Avenue.
Right.
So that is a typo.
Well,
Thank
And that's
you.
what was in, yeah. I'm sorry.
okay. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Good find. With that correction, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk?
25-336, is a communication from the City Manager and Corporation Council with a request to adopt an ordinance amending Chapter 21, Parks and Public Grounds.
Council Hayes?
I'd like to defer to City Attorney Mousom Perkins on this matter. Thank you.
For once in my life, I had to raise the microphone. Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the floor again. It's a pleasure to be in front of you. This is an ordinance in front of you amending Chapter 21, Parks and Public Grounds. It's regarding filming in the city of Peoria on parks and public grounds, specifically streets, sidewalks, places that the city would have a concern of safety. The reason this chapter is being modified is it's piggybacking on the process we currently have in place for public events. But filming is its own beast, so therefore there are changes or additions to the code within this chapter that are being proposed in front of you today. Part of it is the application process would be slightly different, the insurance and bond requirements would be slightly different, and there's a carve-out for student films, as we acknowledge that student films might not have the same budget as large-scale production. There are local incentives of putting this process in place within our code, including attracting temporary workers, spending at local businesses, and benefiting the municipal economy in general. The policy in place would help with the safety and security of our citizens, and it would help coordinate city services for production companies looking to film within Peoria. Now, I know what you're thinking, why put this process in place? Well, Stacy Peterson has received a communication or two from producers asking and inquiring about filming in Peoria. While bigger cities like Chicago have a process in place, we're looking to also put that process in place to mirror cities similar in size like Rockford and Champaign, who also have processes in place. There is also a tax credit for producers in Illinois. In 2008, the General Assembly passed the Illinois Film Production Tax Credit Act, offering producers a credit of 30% of qualified expenditures, including post-production. So because of this tax credit that has existed for a while, putting this policy in place for Peoria might attract potential producers to see that we have a process and our ducks are essentially in a row to attract that kind of business. Any questions?
Council Perkins, how do our fees, the application fees for filming permits, how do they compare to, say, Champagne's? I don't want to use Chicago, but how do they compare to Champaign?
Well, very similar. So we mimicked the fees similar to our public events, so they're very comparable with that respect. There is a carve-out for 30 days or less if an application is received. The only reason being is that city staff does go through an extensive public events process. There are a lot of departments that need to be involved, and with the time crunch and everyone having to drop everything to address a fairly short time request, we felt like that additional fee was warranted.
Would this include, I mean, like riverfront property?
It could potentially. And if I may, Madam Mayor, it would be each application would be addressed on its face, and there is a spot in the application per location that's being requested. So city staff would acknowledge each location and dates.
Okay, I'm just thinking about people, are we talking about professional film
Correct.
directors or just your lay people?
Professionals.
Just professionals, okay. That's better. Otherwise, it's, yeah, okay. Councilmember Allen?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Me and you were on the same wavelength because I was thinking about how do we determine who's professional versus who's out there with the iPhone, maybe being a content creator. And so how are we determining that and maybe going up to them and reminding them that they may need that permit just to avoid any confusion?
Yep. So a lot of our concern comes with blocking streets, right? So if there is a blockage of some sort on city property, that would need to be addressed through our permit process. We don't necessarily, or the intent is not to define what is professional and what is not. There are large-scale productions filmed on iPhones. We've seen multiple movies done so recently. So that's not the intent of this process. It's mostly to find a way to make it safe and secure for the citizens while this filming is occurring.
So if someone is essentially setting up a set, essentially, that would be considered, and they're impeding on people getting around or moving around the sidewalks or anything like that. But someone out there with an iPhone, maybe shooting some content, we wouldn't look to enforce this on them.
We would hope they would go through our process before they start, and I know what you're thinking might not always happen, but that's why we have police officers and community development to help regulate that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you, Council Perkins. Does anybody want to make a motion? Councilmember Riggenbach moved. Okay. Seconded by Councilmember Allen. Continued discussion or questions? Councilmember Kelly?
I just punched the button to make the motion, Madam
Okay.
Mayor.
Okay. All right. Councilman Riggenbach?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just going to say, I think this could potentially open up the opportunity to get Peoria out there more often. And if producers realize that we are welcoming that opportunity, so I'm glad to see this being put in place so that when the opportunity comes, we know how to address it and we're not going to be caught flat-footed, if you will.
Great.
So, thank you.
Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
25-337 is a communication from the City Manager and Finance Director Comptroller with a request to receive and file the month ended September 30th, 2025 unaudited financial report.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Madam Manager?
Yes, ma'am. I will hand it over to our Finance Director, Kyle Crotty.
Thank you, Madam Manager. In front of you tonight is the month ended September 30th financials. The kind of story is going to be very similar to what you've heard from me the last few months. We do have revenues down about 1.6% compared to expected budget. The main driver as to why we're seeing that is really when we get into this process during the budget, it's always a little difficult to have an assessment of when we're going to receive our state grant reimbursements. So if you're further in the document and you look at the general fund, we're lower than expected on our state sources. And that's really driven by just a timing factor when it comes to us receiving those state grants, because we continue to see strong sales tax as well as income tax receipts. I think the other good piece of news is that the revenues are up 1.6% year to date versus last year. So we are still seeing a positive growth trend in our revenues this year. On the expense side, also good news, we're down about 3% compared to budget. And then compared to last year, we're down 11.6%. I think that can sound like a very large number, but I think what needs to be put in context with this is that was really the end of our ARPA spending, and we had a lot of expenditures ARPA related that occurred during that time period. So that's really why you've seen a drop off in the expenses in the general fund. And I think from an overall standpoint, having gone through the budget process the council approved at the last meeting, nothing in this report is moving or altering what we had told council we would end this year with. And with that, I'm available if council has any specific questions.
Councilmember Seer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just got a couple questions, and I just need to be, I heard your, I think you have answered my question already, but I need to be reassured. When I look at page 9 of 10, and I understand our budget is not a linear budget, but under revenues, year-to-date, the actual, we're up $76 million. The budget was $124 million, so we're short. And I mean, this is the end of the third quarter, so we got 1 quarter left. So we're averaging on revenues about $25 million a quarter. And like I said, I know this is not linear, but we're $48 million away from your projection. I just need to be reassured a little bit that you feel comfortable for the last quarter, we'll generate about $48 million in revenues.
Yeah, so your point is exactly the case. Our revenues and how we do it, it is linear in the sense of it is pretty common in terms of how it works, but it's not linear in terms of equal percentages quarter by quarter. So really that first quarter of the year, we don't get and we don't recognize most of our state sales taxes or our local sales taxes. We don't also recognize a lot of our income tax receipts because really we have to look at the intended quarter. So what you find is in that last quarter of the year, yes, we have those 3 months that we'll collect as part of kind of the normal course. But we also have, in some cases, with state sales tax, an additional 3 months we collect we recognize in the last quarter, so 6 total months, and then 2 more months of state income tax. So usually we see that quarter being, I think to your point, it's sometimes being close to half of our receipt of our revenue during the year. So that's why I still feel comfortable saying to council that we're going to be on course with what we laid out in the budget.
So same question for below there on the expenditures. We're at $88 million. We got 26, so we're $38 million away. I know you have more control on the expenditure side. Same question.
Yeah, so I would say the expenses are a little bit more linear. The one thing that we'll run into at year end is we do accrue back some expenditures, especially payroll, that really make that last quarter have a little bit of additional expenditure. The other part that is baked into this kind of numbers is we pay the existing debt for the Civic Center out of the general fund. We have our principal payments that occur at the end of the year. So that is a larger piece of expense that does show up in here. But we do take that into account with our assumption that that would be spent in the fourth quarter. But overall, we are trending in a place to be below budget on our expenses.
Thank you, sir. Last question would be on page 9, I believe, last page, or 10 of 10, I should say.
Yeah.
So I'm always concerned a little bit when we spend more money that we take in, and there's about 3 or 4 accounts that are that way for last quarter. And on the ending fund balance, there's only a couple now. I mean, I'm not going to talk about refuse. I know we're on the garbage. We're on our way to pay that off. But tell us a little bit about the hospitality TIF, and the other one was the healthcare. Where are we in the negative on these 2 accounts?
Quickly with the hospitality TIF, council may remember that when we extended the hospitality TIF a few years ago, I believe it was back in 2021, the main reason was for us to re-amortize our debt. Previously, our debt payment each year was around $2.5 million. We were able to refinance it with the extension of the TIF down to about $1.5 million. So what we're seeing is, and it's not going to be necessarily an overnight process, but we're working our way towards getting that fund back to zero. It's just going to be a number of years. As we start to see growth and we start to see some of the development that was discussed tonight, that will help expedite some of that recovery, but that's a fund that we are going to be a little bit more long-term in getting back to zero. In terms of healthcare, as I talked about during the budget process, it's been a very difficult year for us in terms of our healthcare losses. I think it's a pretty consistent theme you're hearing across the country. And so our health care costs just on medical this year are up almost $4 million year over year. So we are on pace to be close to break even this year. The real difference as we sit here today is we are self-insured, so we have to work with a third-party reinsurer for our large losses, and that has to go through a process where we pay it and they reimburse us. So some of this is some of those large claimants and not getting our reimbursement payments yet, but by the time we get through the end of the year, those will be recognized as revenue.
And last question, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor. I want to talk to you about the accuracy of some of these numbers here. I know you had to make some changes during the budget session. The two I'm looking at right now, just want to make sure these numbers are accurate for OPEB and the stormwater utility. The account balance, I know you had to make some correction. Are they now accurate?
So the OPEB fund is accurate, inclusive of the existing loans that are part of the OPEB fund, so that number is accurate. With the stormwater, if you remember correctly, part of that discussion was around the kind of how fund balance is described in business type activities or enterprise funds. The previous number included non-liquid assets. The change in this is only recognizing, in essence, cash or liquid assets. So that's really I think that's a better indicator of available resources. So that was the correction on that report.
Thank you very much, Director Craddy. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're very welcome. Do you want to make a motion?
Move to approve what is that called? Move to approve the month-end budget or
Receive
financial
and file.
report. I should call it the financial report.
Receive and file.
Receive and file the financial report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Seconded by Councilmember Allen. Any other questions or comments? Please cast your ballots. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Director Craddy. Madam Clerk?
We are at unfinished business.
None.
None? Then we're on to new business.
I have a question on a new business. Will you just remind us what are the dates for the remaining council meetings for the rest of this year?
I believe we just have one more. That would be December 9th. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
December
December
9th is our
9th,
last
and there's no more after
That
that
is
for
correct.
this year? Okay. All right, Councilmember Riggenbach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I received an email from a constituent last week just with daylight savings time taking place and talking about pedestrian safety and bicycle safety and just reminding those people that are riding bikes at dusk that cars oftentimes don't see them, so proper lighting is essential for their safety as well as those pedestrians along the way. So just want to encourage people to be aware of that. Second of all, Director Doolin, thank you for the emails this week about continuum of care funding, and I'm not sure how much we want to get into that right now, but could you just give us kind of a highlight and just, it sounds like it's potentially catastrophic for us as we deal with the unsheltered issue here in Peoria.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the Continuum of Care, as you all know, is kind of the umbrella organization representing kind of all the social service agencies and local government in our community. That is kind of years ago what the federal government wanted to do as the pass-through for federal funds. Last week, they released their updated NOFO, which outlines their spending requirements in the plan going forward. Due to the government shutdown, it's a little late getting released, and it shortened the window from 90 days to 60 days. So it's actually going to be due back to the federal government in early January. The Continuing Governing Board, which the city is a part of with a multitude of other organizations, actually met earlier this week to kind of discuss the various changes in that notice of funding opportunity. I think the area of changes that we'll see the biggest impact is a shift of priority from the federal government from permanent supportive housing services to transitional housing services. So transitional housing services is something where people who are going to living there have a time requirement of 24 months, where permanent supportive housing is kind of the housing first model, where you provide housing and then you provide services through that process. The transitional housing has some additional requirements for people who are utilizing it. In addition, they changed the formula a bit. Historically, about 90% of the funding the Continuum gets as the pass-through, which is a little over $2 million. About 90% of that was pretty much guaranteed that they would get. And the other, you could get about 10% more through a competitive grant process. That has shifted and changed to where 30% of that amount is guaranteed, and then the other 70 goes back into a competitive grant process. And of that 30% that is now guaranteed, only 30% of that can go to permanent supportive housing. So I think that Kate Green with the Continuum of Care and all the nonprofit partners are trying to really still understand the impact of what that would look locally. But we know we have about 250 permanent supportive housing units in our area. You're talking Glendale Commons, Madison 3, the Dream Center, Goodwill, Center for Prevention of Use, all have money from this Continuum of Care permanent supportive housing. So they're going to have to make a decision if they're going to transition those units to transitional housing, which would then add an additional timeline for residents to be able to use it. They could no longer be in there indefinitely. They'd be down there for 2 years and then kind of shift out of that housing. And so it could have very, very large impacts for our community. Unfortunately, too, due to the timing, some of these funds run out in March. Similar to how we handle our federal funds, sometimes when the federal government doesn't approve things very quickly, we can still move forward because they're entitlement grants that we know we could get funding and paid back for, like our CDBG home, those type of funds. We know we'll get paid back because we at least have the allocation, even if we might not have the funds in place. Because of the timing of these in March, they don't know if they'll be approved to essentially switch them from permanent supporting to transitional housing. So you could see them having to make a decision on what to do with those units before the final funding decision is even made. So I'll continue to keep council updated as the Continuum of Care keeps working through these issues. I think our social service agencies are going to have to go back to their boards and make a decision of what they're going to do in the future. There's additional requirements with the funding that your organization has to agree to, and they'll have to make those decisions as well if they're going to pursue that. So it could have a large impact. As I said, 250 units for our most vulnerable population will be a very large thing for our community. And I think the Continuum will still kind of work on how to navigate that situation as they prepare for the NOFO, and if the federal government makes any changes related to it.
Thank you, I guess. But
You got more than you bargained for, didn't you?
But it's hard to wrap your arms around this when you think about the last 14 months. We've been working to find ways to increase permanent supportive housing. That's been the clog in the system by many accounts, and we need more permanent supportive housing.
Yes.
And that opens up the transitional housing and the emergency shelters and on down the line. So to suddenly have the federal government pull the rug out from under us on permanent supportive housing, this is a pause and think hard moment for communities around the country, not just Peoria, but for us, we're talking about 250 units. So if you have a relationship with Congressman LaHood or Sorensen or our senators, we need to make them aware of the significance of these changes. And we're struggling as it is. We still have 50-ish people unsheltered, let alone now.
At least.
So this is a very dire warning. And Director Doolin, thank you for keeping us up to date so far. And again, appreciate the updates as you get them from the Continuum. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Friendly reminder, just for the listening public, tomorrow from 6 to 7, I'll be hosting a information session via Zoom about the business development district proposal happening at Glen Hollow Shopping Center in District 4. If you would like to attend that meeting, you can access the Zoom link registration information via the City of Peoria's website. Just click on View All Events and you'll see it listed there. You can register and then you'll get the information in your email and you can join us tomorrow. We're excited. We have representation from our economic development staff that will be doing an overview of what a business development district is, be able to answer any questions, comments, concerns any participants may have, and hopefully we'll be able to feel a little bit better about this potential proposal. So look forward to engaging and educating people tomorrow, and hopefully we have a good turnout. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. That's great. Councilmember Kelly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Director Doolin, could you step back up, please? I was not aware, Councilman Riggenbach, of these changes. The folks who are currently in permanent housing, when does the clock start on 24 months for those folks?
That's a good question. I don't think that's completely clear yet. That's some of the clarification the continuum is trying to seek, to see if it's the clock starts new as the new funding cycle, and that's the 24 months, or if you look historically, if they've been in kind of New Hope Apartments, for example, for 4 or 5 years, has their 24 months passed? We're not entirely sure about that yet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome. Madam Clerk?
We are at citizens' opportunity to address the city council, and I believe we have one card.
And we have one card, Ms. Dusty Moultrie.
Good evening. My name is Dusty Moultrie. Sorry about my dress. I had grandmother duties at dance tonight before I came. I am coming because I did a presentation in front of the Safety Committee and the mayor on Friday, and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I am a therapist. I am a passionate Peoria native who moved for 9 years, and I'm coming home. And one of my passions is youth. And I seen the guys from Grow come in here and I got kind of excited because those are my old peers from Youth Farm back in the day when we used to work there. So I know those guys have been working also with the community with kids at risk for a long time. What I'm bringing and proposing to the community is something that I have researched and looked that we're not yet addressing. The youth's behavior in the community is not just a child's problem. It's a family problem. Generally, youth don't develop violence and behaviors on their own. It comes from within the home. What I've done in the past 9 years in San Antonio is work with probation, schools, judges, to provide therapy, evidence-based models, because what you find, and Ms. Young can probably say, is research-based models, evidence-based models suggest that when you go to the family for these problems and you develop the connection problems, the communication problems, the problems within their home, oftentimes maybe there's already been violence in the home. That's the first place where they see it. And you can repair some of these things within the home, you have better outcomes. And you can do this through evidence-based models. I work for an agency called Vision Quest. They've been doing this in San Antonio for the past 12 years. I fortunately have had the opportunity to be a part of this for the past 9 of those 12 years. We are shown to reduce recidivism, create connection, and it's a model that runs coinciding with a lot of these great programs that Peoria already has. The missing piece is going in the home and repairing the family. I heard a lot about reentry tonight too. Having those kids, when they come out of placements or, IDOC for youth and they come home, they still come home to the family that they had the problem with before they left. We do that. We connect them, we reconnect, and we make the relationships better, because you can put a Band-Aid on a child through therapy, but they still got to go home. And so what I'm asking tonight is, let me sit at your table with you for a little bit, and let me tell you about the program, because I truly have a passion about this community. I've been in front of you guys for Alexis multiple times, but I'm here about the whole community, and I really want to come back home, and I want to bring my experience, and I really want to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moultrie. Madam Clerk?
We are at executive session.
I would like to invite a motion to adjourn and to convene in closed session immediately following adjournment of the City Council meeting pursuant to the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 122C2 to discuss collective negotiating matters between the city and its employees or their representatives pursuant to the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 122C11 to discuss pending litigation, and pursuant to the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 122C21 for approval by the body of closed session minutes. Can I get a motion? Moved by Councilmember Sears, seconded by Councilmember Allen. Please cast your ballots. Thank you for your service.